Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to URM's webinar today. And today we will be discussing penetration testing for cloud native organizations. I think the cloud is becoming more and more popular, so we're going to talk about actually performing security testing in those environments. My name is Lauren Gotting. I'm new business director here at URM, and I'm joined by Mike Emery, who is a senior security consultant, and he'll tell you a little bit more about himself in just a few slides' time. So over the next 40 minutes, what are we going to be covering? We are going to be looking at the definition of cloud native, what is actually meant by that term. We will look at traditional testing and maybe why it doesn't really apply to a cloud native organization. We will think about the purpose of testing, what is the aim here, what a business is trying to achieve. And we'll also look at what can be covered in the cloud. And of course, we'll answer any questions at the end that have come in. However, if you do have any throughout the session, please pop them in the box. We'll get to as many as we can throughout the session, and if we can't reach them all, then we'll reach out directly afterwards and potentially arrange any calls to clarify anything. I'll get back to you with responses. So, firstly, if I just tell everyone a little bit about URM, especially for those that are new here. We've been around for nearly 20 years, so 19 years we've been around. Next year I'll be able to say 20 years and it'll make my life a lot easier. The really key points here about URM is that we've got our cyber team. Under the same roof, we've also got our governance, risk and compliance team. So we can offer services from a technical perspective and also the policy and process work as well. We've worked with a number of different organisations and standards over the years, so you'll see a few there. We support with ISO 27001, PCI, pen testing, SOC 2, so we can cover a number of different topics. URM's people, I'd say, is probably what stands out the most as an organisation. In terms of our consultancy team, our cyber team, everyone really cares about improving organisation security and helping them achieve their goals. We also look at consultants that have done the job operationally and then joined from as a consultant perspective, so they bring some real world experience as well to our clients. So it's really important that we also practice what we preach. So we've got our own accreditations, we have ISO 27, we're CREST accredited, we're part of the NCSE sort of cyber advisor scheme. So just demonstrates our experience in the sector, really. Okay, Mike, if I can hand over to you, if you can tell everyone a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure, yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Mike Emery. I'm a senior security consultant as part of your cyber team. I've been an offensive security consultant for about 12 years now, so I've seen quite a lot in that time and dealt with quite a lot of different industries. Myself, I'm a generalist, so I've worked everything from hardware up to the cloud. So obviously we're sticking at the top end of that today, but if you've also got some circuit boards or PCBs that need looking at, I can do that as well. But as I say, today we're focusing on the cloud. I think it's worth mentioning, like, my key driver for wanting to give this webinar is that actually we often end up on scoping calls with organisations who want an external pen test, and that's the general aim of what they want, but they may not fit the mould for this due to their cloud nature. And I think what today will do is allow you to consider the outcomes that you want from your pen testing and how you can get to them. And that sort of ignores the labels of what is and isn't a pen test. You're working towards an objective as a business, and you need to use any tool that helps you get there. And the last thing is, I really want, and URM wants to deliver good value, and that sometimes, it doesn't feel like you're doing your best when you're doing something. You're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. And at this point, let's just reframe the whole conversation and then work together towards a common objective. So the first thing to think about is define our terms. What do we mean by cloud native? It's in the title of the webinar today, but it applies to hybrid organizations as well. Obviously, some of you have got some on-prem, some of you are mostly on-prem, some of you are entirely cloud native. I know most organizations will be hybrid to a greater or lesser degree. When I say cloud, I mean, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. They're all in an area where a traditional pen test can fall short and can be misconstrued in terms of what it can deliver. And I think if we look at sort of our most extreme example of something that is cloud native, I'd be looking at an organization that just has Microsoft 365. You dole out a laptop, you sign in via Entra, you put your files on SharePoint. You might have a public website somewhere which somebody else runs for you. It's brochureware, it's non-interactive. That's my extreme example, and that's somewhere where, if you rock up as a pen tester and go, hey, let's do an external test, there's nothing to look at, and it might give you a weird sense of security thinking about what threats can be uncovered from that perspective.
Mike, from your experience, would you say more and more businesses are taking a cloud-based approach to maybe try and reduce their management and their overheads around security?
Yeah, I think so. I think moving to the cloud is often a business-based decision as opposed to a security-based decision. And that's not to say it's inherently worse, but it is to say it's very different, and it requires, a different set of considerations. And, anybody that's worked with cloud tooling knows that there's a million and one things to configure, and it's never straightforward. The more choices there are, the more chances there are to get it wrong.